Now, if you are looking at the New York Jets from a non-fan perspective, you're either going to feel one or two ways about them. You either feel that this team is going to be able to make it work with Aaron Rodgers and they're going to be in the Super Bowl conversation, or you lie on the other side of the coin and you think that Aaron Rodgers is washed up and that this New York Jets Aaron Rodgers experiment is going to backfire in a major way. Now, when you ask me how good do I feel the New York Jets are going to be this year, I think that this team is going to be good enough to win the Super Bowl. And you may be like, JT, man, like, you tripping. You really think that the New York Jets are going to be able to win the AFC? Like, yes, I do. I think that a lot of people are overlooking one big thing about the New York Jets, and it's the fact that they had a top 3 defense in the NFL last season. Like,
come on now, dog. Come on, man.
How y'all gonna overlook the New York Jets having one of the best defenses in the NFL last season? And you gotta remember that this was a top 3 defense despite the fact that they had no quarterback and that their offense was at times completely inept at being able to move the football. When you have a bad offense, it puts your defense in bad situations because sometimes if you have an offense that turns the football over a lot, they put your defense in bad field position, or 2, your defense is on the field for more plays than what they should be. With Aaron Rodgers being under center at quarterback, the New York Jets offense should at least be able to give the New York Jets defense way more breaks, and they shouldn't have to be on the field as much as what they were in 2022. And Aaron Rodgers, we seem to forget that a year prior to last, this dude was coming off back-to-back MVPs. So if Aaron Rodgers can play at least 80% of the level that he was during his prime years for the Green Bay Packers, I think that's good enough for the Jets to be able to make it out of the AFC. Like, this is a fantastic defense. We keep looking at the New York Jets early schedule slate, and yeah, it is tough. You got to play the Cowboys, you got to play the Buffalo Bills, the Broncos, the Chiefs, but one thing that people keep overlooking is how good this defense is. This defense is good enough to slow down some of the best offenses in the NFL. They're going to have a fantastic pass rush. All you need is for Aaron Rodgers to play better than Sam Darnold, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco, and Mark Sanchez, and any of the other quarterbacks that you've had under center throwing the ball for you for the last decade for this franchise. I really believe that if the New York Jets are going to be able to make this Aaron Rodgers thing work, they have to make it work in his first season in the Big Apple. And I don't see any reason why he can't. Tom Brady did it. Everybody was doubting Tom Brady because they were saying, oh, he's going to Tampa during COVID. Like, how's he going to be able to build rapport, and how's he going to get the timing and chemistry up? And you see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ended up going all the way that year. So if you have the perfect ingredients, this thing should end up working. There are concerns that we should have about Nathaniel Hackett, but you got to remember that Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson, a large reason why they didn't work out in Denver was because Russell Wilson just wasn't a good fit in Nathaniel Hackett's scheme. Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett already have a lot of familiarity with each other dating back to their time when they were both in Green Bay. So it's not like Aaron Rodgers is going into a situation where he has to learn a completely new system. Like, there may be some new wrinkles that he's going to have to get up to speed with, but for the most part, he should have a already good grasp on what Nathaniel Hackett is expecting from this offense. And you're probably going to give him the ability to audible out of plays and get the offense into better situations depending on what the defense comes out in. That's just what happens when you have an experienced veteran quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. And when you look at the New York Jets supporting cast, I mean, I was going back and forth with my guy Juice a couple of days ago. He was saying he doesn't know if the New York Jets are all that good at receiver if they have a couple of injuries. Like, the New York Jets are more than fine at receiver. At this moment, they currently have Corey Davis, Denzel Mims. Both of those guys should benefit if they remain on the roster when the season begins from playing with Aaron Rodgers. You got Mecole Hardman in the slot. You got Allen Lazard, who Aaron Rodgers has a lot of familiarity with. And then you got Garrett Wilson, who was the best rookie receiver last season. So there's enough talent for Aaron Rodgers to throw the football to. As a matter of fact, this is the most talented supporting cast that Aaron Rodgers has had in a very long time. You got to remember that the only reliable weapon that he really had for the Green Bay Packers over the last 4 or 5 years was Devontae Adams. So now you got multiple receivers. Even if you don't have a receiver that's on the caliber of Devontae Adams, you still have multiple receivers that are going to be able to produce, and you have somebody that you're familiar with. Now, the biggest concern about the Jets offense comes when you look at their offensive line, but their offensive line is not that bad. I think this offensive line is being incredibly overlooked. They drafted Joe Tippmann in the second round of this past year's NFL draft out of Wisconsin. Do your research on Joe Tippmann. Joe Tippmann is one of the most athletic centers that I've seen in all my years covering the NFL draft. And I've been keeping up with the draft for around 8 years. This dude can move. And you got to remember that he's coming from Wisconsin. When's the last time Wisconsin had an offensive lineman that wasn't good? Like Wisconsin, one thing about their football program is that they're going to have some really good defensive players and they're going to have some damn good offensive linemen, man. So you got Joe Tippmann at center. If he ends up being really good his rookie season, this offensive line should not be an issue, because when you look at the key to having a good offensive line, it starts at center. And I think that Joe Tippmann potentially could be the best center that the Jets have had since Nick Mangold. You got Lakeland Tomlinson at one of your offensive guard spots, Elijah Vera Tucker at the other. Mekhi Becton is not a bust, it's just that he isn't able to stay on the field, but when he's healthy, he's really solid. So I think that the New York Jets offensive line is perfectly fine. I think that a lot of people are freaking out too much about it because, let's be honest, who really pays attention to the offensive line unless it's bad? I think that the New York Jets are going to be able to make it out of the AFC this year. And if they don't make it out, I think they're going to be up there. I think the 3 biggest threats to Kansas City and the AFC this season are the Ravens, the Bengals, and the New York Jets. This defense is way too good for people to just continue to make this thing all about Aaron Rodgers, man. Like, y'all need to put some more respect on the New York Jets defense and Robert Saleh and what he does on the defensive end of the football, man. Their defense is going to be a large reason why they end up going far, because this offense is going to be able to give you at least 20 points a game, and your defense is going to be good enough to hold most offenses to under 20. That's a winning formula. When you look at this division and you're trying to figure out how Aaron Rodgers stacks up against the young cats such as Tua and Josh Allen, I mean, he may not be up there physically, but that's why you got a great defense that can contain and slow those opposing quarterbacks and offenses down. Some of you guys need to put a little bit more respect on Robert Saleh and this New York Jets defense, man. This just isn't going to be the Aaron Rodgers show in 2023 for the Jets. If they're going to win the Super Bowl, it's going to be because they also get fantastic play out of their defense. But I expect the Jets to be amongst one of the best teams in the AFC this year. My worst case scenario for them is 9-8. My best case scenario for the New York Jets is 13-4. And if I had to give you an overall record prediction, I think they're probably going to be around between 10 to 12 wins this